Yep. So this concept, or not concept, but this reminder of human potential, human movement, human expansion. I was reminded of it from a YouTuber, Uncle Rami, and I don't know how I found him. He's like a workout channel, but when he was talking about life stuff, he mentioned this concept of, two main concepts that have really been juicing me up, that have really been helping me. And these are essentially like reminders, because I've heard these concepts before, but shout out to Uncle Rami for sending forth these cosmic reminders. And this goes for any YouTuber, any content creator, content creation, like including me, where it's like, if somebody says something or does something in their video or content, whatever, and it evokes something in me, awakens something in me, or it sends me this sort of cosmic reminder where I am just changed as a person because of absorbing this certain content. Like, I want to give you like a kickback. It's like, all right, like, did you make a course or something? Did you make a song or something, or a book or something? Like, I'm going to buy it because you've improved my life. And, I want to pay it forward. I want to give a kickback in that sense. So that as a side note, where it just generally seems like the equal mutual exchange mindset and beingness, it just seems like so right and so true. So just want to send that out there as just like an idea / reminder / inspiration. It's honestly something that not only, I don't want to call it like a should, but it's like a way to respect the concept that it's not just it's not just me. Why is this so shaky? Well, what really matters is the audio content. But that being said, let me see if I can make a quick edit on the holster. But anyway, it's like a way of reminding ourselves that it's not just us. We're not an island. We're never self-made. In reality, that really helped. In reality, this is all a community thing. It takes a village. This is really a community thing. We are remixing one life. We're getting different ideas from different people. We're getting, our upbringing from certain authorities, and we can get inspiration from that, obviously. And then there's a lot of stuff where we don't get a choice. It becomes our sort of internal programming until we deprogram, reprogram to have more beneficial internal situations, right? But anyway, to give people kickbacks, to buy people's things, it is just of mutual resonance, right? Where it's like, wow, you really inspired me. Wow, you've changed me. Wow, you've given me this thing to think about, to become. Like, I'm paying it forward. All right, so that was, an attempt to be a small thing that turned into a bigger thing, but it's true, and it's right, and that's that. What this video was actually going to be about was me referencing two things that the YouTuber Uncle Rami reminded me of. And that's pushing as an inevitability for a good life. A life that you're changing to your benefit. Pushing and conviction, right? And those certainly have interplay, and they certainly tie in and all those good things. I'll talk about them one at a time, but they're going to end up talking about themselves to themselves, right? So, the push, the inevitable push. Life is a push. There are lots of times where it's like you're sitting at the bottom of a bowl and things roll to you. That can happen, that does happen a lot of the times, and we introverts have to watch out for that type of stuff, or people who have just more feminine energy about them, whether you're an actual woman or you just have a certain threshold amount where you notice these types of things, where, by the way, masculine, feminine energy, it's not about man, woman, it's not about any of that. It's an internal thing. It's, convex, concave, implosive, explosive. These energies about us, right? The yin, the yang. It's pronounced yang, or so I've been told, as opposed to yang. Anyway, the internals of the consoling, the caring, and then the externals of the biff, bam, pow, go get 'em, like that type of stuff. So I'm talking about more of that yang stuff of, listen, life inevitably has challenges that come to you, and life essentially asks, in many ways, shapes and forms, boom, this wall, this challenge, this situation is right here, right in front of you. So that aspect is the yin, the things are coming to you. But it's yang in the sense of, they call in response. Are you responding with the push? Are you responding to the challenge? The challenge is saying, here it is. What are you gonna do about it? That's funny how that was kind of the ending message of the last video. What are you gonna do about it? Honestly. Essentially, it's asking, I'm in your way. Are you going to push me out of the way? Are you gonna push me to a certain extent where I shift and change? Right? It doesn't have to be pushed to the point of completely obliterating, destroying this challenge, this obstruction. It can just be a matter of putting your hand on its shoulder, symbolically, and it thinking twice and making moves accordingly, right? So the push, the yang, the going against the grain, the going up the hill, it can be simple, but the ultimate make or break situation is how you respond. Because, yeah, you can push and go too far, but what I'm really trying to hone in on, to really drive the point home, is, do you respond effortfully, or do you cave, right? Do you convex, or do you concave, right? And it's something that can happen in small ways and in large ways, where somebody says something in conversation, maybe talks about you in a certain way. Are you going to convex? are you going to play into it, spin it around, and play it to your advantage? Or are you going to cave and just do like an awkward like laugh and smirk like and not really go into it, even though deep down on the inside you're like, you're misrepresenting me, and at the end of the day it can be fine, it could be whatever. But if we're playing the game of life and you want, and if you don't want that to be one of the last, if not the last, impressions of you that other people have of you, it's like, play the game. You could take what that person says, spin it, make it fun. You can kind of on the guy, the person that said the thing, right, in response, right? So a little elbow nudging back and forth. Everybody has fun, and the people around get a newer, fresher, better impression of you. So it's like, come on, let's do a little tit for tat, do a little tap dancing, do a little spin move, right? Doing a little pushing, right? That's really what actually matters, right? Like, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, like, the way that you push back, unless it's too far, of course, unless you like, overreact in the sense of like, hey, I don't appreciate that, or that doesn't represent me. It's like, okay, yeah, you're giving a pushback, but, there's pushing back too far. Like, that's the thing, right? So, that's that. Now, to get to the concept of conviction, it's really interesting how we'll talk about it of itself, and then we'll talk about its tie-in with pushing. And the tie-in term is tension. But we'll go with conviction in and of itself, or at least attempt to, and then we'll tie it in with this concept of tension. Okay, so conviction, to be convinced, and more specifically, to be convinced of yourself, what you're doing, what you're portraying, what you're saying, what you're selling, who you're being, right? Conviction. And this ties in a bit to confidence. The word confidence, Latin prefix with, confidence, right? Like fide, fidelity, confidence with just cohesion, with clarity, with structure, with flow. So that tying into, of course I'm just like, what? Tying into what? Tying into conviction. It's like, I love words and playing with words. It's just like, just the word conviction. It feels like constricting, like, like when you have conviction, when you're convinced of something, of yourself, you feel that tension, right? There's the tie-in. You feel that tension, but it's good tension, because the tension makes structure, right? It's like working out. Like, without the tension, without the structure, without like the fulcrum, without the stability, you're not getting much of a workout if you're not with that structure, with that tension, right? You need the opposing force, whether it be of gravity, of your angle, etc., etc. If you don't have the opposing force, you can have the initial force. You know, like if you've ever messed around with hand tools, if you're a handyman, plumber, whatever, if you don't have the grounding, solidifying force that gives you the leverage, that gives you the torque, the tension, then nothing's getting done, right? Imagine, you know, you've got your power drill, and you're trying to screw something in. Well, if the wall you're trying to screw the screw into moves as you move, you know, and if you've been in that situation, you know, like building IKEA furniture, it's like, okay, well, I gotta put a hand and arm behind the wall, the opposing force, as I'm screwing the screw in. Otherwise, the work isn't gonna get done. So, to bring it back to conviction, it's like, if you don't have that structure about you, then any sort of force, any sort of attempt at portraying yourself in a good light, in a high status, is just not gonna happen, because you don't have the confidence, you don't have the conviction to hold yourself up. We're not gonna talk, because it can be its own 20-minute video of like how to have conviction and confidence and things like that. That can be its own video. But how conviction ties into, oh, we got a crowd today. How conviction ties into tension is, as I park, as I get a little more comfy, conviction ties into, here we go, conviction. Yes, I'm human, all right? Conviction ties into let me pause this. All right. Sorry about that. Conviction ties into the concept of pushing through the concept of tension. So to use working out as an example, just the concept of being in a routine and doing it every day, right? You build conviction and you build the increased wherewithal, the increased acceptance of the inevitability of challenge in life. You have a daily routine that you don't want to do every day. And if you do, honestly, it's too easy and you need to change things up, right? To have a daily routine that you do every day, and that when you're about to do it every day, on a certain percentage of days where you're just not feeling it, but you do it anyway, that's the key right there. You feel the tension, and you're like, yeah, well, guess what? I'm doing it anyway. You build conviction, and you build your wherewithal to handle challenge. You see the tension, you feel the tension, you become the tension, you accept the tension for what it is, and you blow right past it. Boom, right? Boom, right? Just upping the testosterone, just thinking about it, just talking about it. So That's one of the many reasons I highly recommend, or honestly, it's one of the main reasons I recommend a daily routine that you don't really like doing, that you do get results from, that you don't really like doing, because half of the benefit of doing that daily routine that you get benefits from that you don't really like doing is that tension. Tension is the doorway. So there's another shout out to a content creator, Zen, Zenn. Check out his book. And one of the master keys, tension is the doorway. Ain't it the truth? Tension has things to tell you. Tension holds up a mirror. Tension asks, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Are you going to convex or are you going to concave? Boom. I'm kind of proud of that. I just came up with that one on the spot. Bada boom. All right. Another 20 plus minute video. We're going to pay our respects and we're going to peace out. Respect, mad respect to life in general, the fact that we're even alive, all these biological processes, the physical, the metaphysical processes, the fact that we're even alive right now. Respect to the creator, call it whatever you want, God, oversoul, infinity, call it whatever you want, the cosmos, the Tao. Mad respect to all of that, to all of the elements that work in lockstep, in synchronous fashion, in symbiotic nature, that give us the consistent food, the water, the air, the earth, the sun, the fire, all of it. The fact that it all works, mad respect. The fact that you're still alive, mad respect. The fact that I'm still alive, mad respect. All of this and more, Mac 11. Catch you later.